for today. So the title of our forum today is Meet Keweenaw Indivisible. So many of you know that Keweenaw Indivisible has been meeting at 604 Bridge, and I thought it would be nice for us to hear more about what they're working on, since they have been spending a lot of time there, and we like to support that. So our presenter is Alex Radke. He's a graduate of Central Michigan University. He moved to the Keweenaw in 2020 to pursue employment in IT, due to the need to increase public awareness and understanding of the many threats to our democracy. Alex partnered with other concerned community members to form Keweenaw Indivisible. It's a chapter of Michigan Indivisible, and there's National Indivisible. When Alex is not involved with planning Keweenaw Indivisible activities, he enjoys searching for the best pasty, foraging for morel mushrooms, and losing to his partner in board games. So, Alex, we really appreciate you being here today. We can have you do your presentation and then have people ask questions, either by raising their hand or putting questions into the chat at any time throughout your presentation. Does that work for you, as opposed to getting interrupted with questions during?
Yeah. Or questions in the chat, we'll get to them at the end. And it'll also give me a second to chew on them and come up with a good answer. As I'm getting started here, folks, I'd just like to say thank you for showing up this morning. I know it's a wonderful, warm summer day here in the Keweenaw. We're going on, our third month of spring. July is just around the corner. But folks, I'd like to just say hi. My name's Alex. I am responsible for the membership outreach for Keweenaw Indivisible, and I moved to Hancock about 5 years ago. It was the peak of COVID. Everything was locked down, but I was able to find a really lovely group of people and just kind of like say, this is home. And it always felt like home. My great-grandfather immigrated to the area from Finland. He settled in Copper City. He was working for Gratiot Mine, and I've spent a lot of time in this area, whether it was camping in the summers with my family or just coming up for personal trips because it's so beautiful. And one of the things that immediately stands out to anyone that comes to the area is just how eager folks are to lend each other a helping hand. Uh, a lot of small town America prides itself for being community driven and helpful, but this is the kind of place that even in the dead of winter, when I am driving around in my rear wheel drive Grand Marquis, I know that help is not too far when I wind up drifting off into a ditch. Um, there is just a knowingness that our community is going to take care of each other. Uh, when I came up here in 2020, I was working for the AmeriCorps program, and we were here to assist communities in need. Um, this is definitely a community in need. Working at CLK Elementary, you see students that are at the worst of these shortages of resources. There's 100% food assistance. There is free dental programs, and the students need them because they have teeth rotting in their mouths. Even in the dead of the 6 month long winter that we have kids going to school without reliable winter jackets. There's a whole, I'd like to say, library of winter jackets that kids check out on a daily basis to go out into the snow. And to top it all off, we had some really, really bad COVID numbers. This is not an open secret. I'm not trying to tell you something that you guys don't know here, but like this is definitely a community in need, which is what reflects with how eager folks are to help each other. This is a beautiful and warm community. But over the last few years, and especially coming out of the pandemic, that friendliness seems to shift. You can feel it in America at large, and definitely in a small community like this, I don't know if you feel it yourself, but I feel a hesitation asking for help and lending help. There's more of a reliance on looking out for ourselves first. And I don't know about you, but that concerns me. This area that we love is starting to change. And uh, for the last few years, I've been uncertain on how to change it. So the last few years, this small group of friends that I've had has felt like an absolute bastion against all of this weird uncertainty that's been going on in the world around us. New outbreaks of war, people rioting streets. Um, there's just not enough stability like it feels like there should be. And uh, year after year, I see my core group of friends start to dwindle. While everyone comes up to the area, they love it, they love the sense of community. There's always a couple or a friend here and there that has to leave following a new academic pursuit, a better paying job. Maybe they're tired of the winter. The we're seeing a bleed of good people too. But when one of my friends told me that there was a local organization that was looking to bring people together and stem this unneighborly kind of trend that we're having, um, it piqued my interest. And hopefully it piques yours too. I'm here to tell you today again about Keweenaw Indivisible. Uh, I did not form Keweenaw Indivisible. I was just lucky enough to be in a room when they asked for help. It was a February morning. We still had 2 or 3 feet of snow outside, and I'd heard about this place, the Keweenaw Unitarian Universal Fellowship, and uh, I'd never been to this building before. But I heard that there was a gathering. I had friends that I trust that were there, and coming in, like as you guys are aware, it's an incredibly cozy space. Poking my head into your gathering room, I saw a number of uncertain, concerned faces, and there wasn't a lot to break the ice. Um, but you could tell in everyone's face there was this thought, like, how are we going to make a change? Uh, the words, "We're building this plane as we fly it," uh, are what I think of first when our meeting started. Our leader, Rich, and I am going to slaughter his name, even though I've said it 100 times, Cananavez, it was speaking to our crowd. Uh, And the more that I heard him talk, the more that I felt that like icy unsureness of this long winter melt off. Our meetings are full of messages that what we're seeing in the news is not normal. There are billionaires bullying ordinary Americans like you and me. There's the destruction of hard-fought rights, rights that were preserved in progress of diversity, equality, and inclusion. We saw the repealing of Roe v. Wade. We're seeing transgender people and queer folk being um, uh, uh, prosecuted and persecuted. There are open attacks of masked individuals on immigrants and the ripping apart families. And there are people openly applauding for racist individuals. Not to mention, we saw a Nazi salute behind the presidential inauguration. These are the issues that I've seen, and trying to navigate these at social gatherings has been exhausting. It's easier to be desensitized or just apathetic. Uh, because there's no easy answer on how to fix them. But one of the things about the structure for our Keweenaw Indivisible meetings is we plot out how to solve those. One mind is better than, or many minds is better than one. And part of the structure for our meetings is brainstorming and about how to overcome the issues that are affecting our local community. We might not be able to fully tackle a national issue, but we can definitely make our community a better spot, a better place. As my first meeting progressed, we broke off into action groups on just how to get the word out about Keweenaw Indivisible. And I was welcomed by this diverse group of people from all steps of life. There were students that were just uncertain about the future. They'd signed up for a university program promising them a better life. And now, with the uncertainty of their potentially not being in the United States, they were ready to do something about it. There are parents concerned about their kids. The world that they were raising their child into is now changing, and there's a great reason to be anxious about that. And it was full of folks in their later stages of life who had either just been activists and felt like they had done a good job, see their work be reversed, or like anyone else, they were just mad as hell and they weren't going to take it anymore. Uh, but they were coming together to find an answer to the big question of how can we make that change? Um, so in my second meeting, when Keweenaw Indivisible was asking for someone to do some membership outreach, I boldly put my hand up, and I had found the first step in what I know that I can do. So I can talk to people and I can reach out to people and hopefully build a couple of bridges. That those bridges can only be built with a sense of security. And a lot of my position is just making sure that our membership is safe from bad actors. To be part of Keweenaw Indivisible, we require that you signify that someone in the group can vouch for you. And they probably can. You probably know somebody who is part of Keweenaw Indivisible. We have at least 150 members right now, and so far there have been zero issues. I know that, especially in this forum, you guys know what happens with bad actors. Um, Keweenaw Indivisible, much like Koof, is focused on having a respectful, responsible membership base. We understand that diversity in our membership is the most important thing to help tackle the problems that we're facing as a community. Um, and much like the first meeting that I was in, every one of our meetings with Keweenaw Indivisible, we have time to get people together, to get some actionable items, and to make work groups as a grassroots organization to tackle local problems. This is not some mandate from a political party. This is not a prescribed action from other activist groups. We are here to do the work and to bring people together. And in order to do that, we need to know what people want to change. The size and scope of our projects vary greatly. They can be as small as something like a community potluck, which is now one of our project items. My partner said, "Hey, we've got this organization. We haven't really had a lot of time to celebrate. We should definitely make sure that there's a potluck in the next few weeks." I believe that'll be one of the working items. Or it can be size of scope of our project right now, which is to buy up all of the medical debt in the area. Um, so far, our working groups have put us on a number of events. We have had 2 town halls calling for our representative Jack Bergman to come and talk to his constituents in person. He hasn't come and spoken to us in at least 7 years, but we also have a continuous bi-weekly food drive. We have our program backed by a number of members. I believe it's Valerie Troche, who is part of Houghton County Dems, and I think League of Women Voters might have signed on to this too, to help us buy medical debt in Copper Country. And in April 5th, we had a 500-person march, and we filled up both sides of the Portage Bridge. We've got many more projects, we've got many more accomplishments, and one of the things that I'm most proud of is in the last month, we had a forum with all of the pro-democracy leaders representing 10 different groups in the Copper Country. We had about 20 people there, and we're looking to continue to grow and strengthen the communication between pro-democracy leaders and share the resources. So I'd like to briefly talk for a moment about our last two things, that 500-person strong march and bringing our leaders together. So our hands-off march was April 5th. I'd never taken part in activism before, and it was definitely only a success because of people like you. Seeing the folks that have already signed up for our Zoom, in our Zoom chat, I might not have been introduced to everybody, but I can see familiar faces that people were mad, people were scared, and we came together to fight back against a country that is being trampled by greedy autocrats. When we heard about our national mobilization, as Joan said, we're part of a chapter of a Michigan branch of a national branch. They'll have 4 events for us. Every quarter, we need to do a march, is what they're trying to tell us. And we knew that there was this day of action, but we didn't know how to put it together. In fact, there was a lot of questions that came out of the first few planning meetings with both leadership and membership, is like, where do we go? Or like, what do we do? Or who is our march for? Or how do we keep folks safe? How do we get people to come to us? Where will folks hear about us? Should we have public speakers? And if we do have public speakers, who do we choose? This list troubled us for a little while, but little by little, leaning on our community that we'd pulled together, these questions were being answered. We decided to host it at Bridgeview Park, which some of you go, oh yes, and some of you go, where is Bridgeview? Bridgeview is that little podium down by downtown Houghton. Not the easiest thing to get a word out about if folks don't know exactly where it is. This is going to be a rally that was for everyone, Americans. This is for us, for anyone who is dissatisfied with the system, the poor, the tired, the huddled masses yearning to breathe free. We're going to need folks that are going to be trained in first aid and de-escalation if we're going to keep people safe. There's no good central communication, so we'll spread the word through word of mouth. We'll put a word into editorials in the Daily Mining Gazette. We'll send out emails, and we'll use this app Signal, and hopefully I can get some of you to sign up for it today at the end of this. And then also just we'll push out on Facebook and see if we can get a good measure there. Who do we invite? Well, we did just have a successful town hall. Maybe we can pull some of the speakers. We've got great testimony from them, and little by little, these answers were bubbling up. Our community was able to pull together what we needed. We had the resources. So at one of our meetings, our membership threw money at us. We did not ask. We were not equipped. We did not feel comfortable taking anyone's money, especially cash dollars. But the few dollars that folks threw at us, we were able to buy ourselves a PA system. We were able to buy ourselves some postering supplies, and we were off to the races. Another question that came up during our planning was like, this is going to be a march. There are folks that definitely don't want to be part of a march, or there's people that want to be part of a march and can't because it's the middle of winter. We can't physically get up and down the stairs. Is there something for folks to do if they can't march? Well, we asked our community and we got an answer. They said, hey, host a poster making session. There are people that will come out for that that won't be at the marches. And while I don't have posters in front of you to see, you might have seen some of them around in the community. Um, I mean, mine was my personal favorite. It's a family saying, my tummy hurts and I'm mad at the government. And over the last 10 years, my word, has that started to come more and more true. We were expecting the cold of April to drive off most folks. We were expecting snowy weather, sleet and rain, and we were overly excited to hear that 200 people had RSVP'd to come. 200 people was an impossible number for me. I had only been responsible for about 30 kindergartners, and that was nearly impossible for me. The day of the march, over 400 people attended. We were terrified. We were gobsmacked. We were eternally humbled that almost 500 people joined to tell Trump and his cronies to keep their hands off of our rights, to keep their hands off of our friends and our parks, our healthcare, our education, our constitution, our democracy. And most importantly, those 500 people got home safely. Our rally showed us that there is a common and popular sentiment that we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. This was a grand success, but there's more work to be done and it can't happen alone. In order for our organization, our resistance to continue to grow, we would have to continue to reach out to our neighbors. And so last month, Keweenaw Indivisible organized to get together with as many progressive organizations as we could. And if you know anything about the Copper Country, it can be really hard to get a word out, especially digitally. We leaned into our community again, and we were able to form some contacts. We were able to relay some of this information. We planned a date, we found a venue, we worked through schedules, we sent invitations. 6 people RSVP'd, and we said, great. Day of the event, 20 people showed up. 20 leaders showed up. Leadership from 10 of these different orgs. We had Houghton County Dems. We had Keweenaw Socialists. We had our Craig newsletter. We had folks from COOF. Everyone wanted the same thing, but maybe in different ways. We all wanted a society of diverse, intelligent, respectful individuals coming together to make things better for everyone and not just the few. Our meeting showed us that there is a real need for unity in the area, that we need to find ways to reach out and communicate and connect with each other, to share the resources that we have if we're going to be successful in keeping this country around, keeping our country friendly. And that's really why I'm here in front of you guys today, is to lean on my community again. We're working to build something that is greater than the Copper Country. It is greater than the mining feuds that have separated the towns. It's greater than the 6 months of winter and the cold and the gloom of an unfeeling regime, despite our successes in the last few months, they are not enough to overturn the way that our country is moving now. If you feel the same way I do when you hear about ICE agents kidnapping people in the streets and in their houses, if it sickens you to hear about your neighbors being deported to an illegal foreign mega prison, or if you lose sleep worrying about children in schools going hungry, or scientists being told that they're liars, or federal workers being fired by AI models trained by people named Big Balls, I consider, I ask that you consider joining us. We are here to do what it takes to make our government be run by the people for the people. We're here to fight for you. Will you fight with us? If this is of any interest to you, we meet, as you know, twice monthly over in your beautiful gathering space. And we can drop a QR code into our chat. I'll pull it up here if I'm allowed to share a screen. Our next big event is Bridge Fest, and the more people we can get out to march with us, the more people will know that the Copper Country is uniting, and we're going to make this place better. And we hope to see you out there. So with that, I will open this up for questions. If you have anything to ask, this is a good time. I see we've got some things in chat. Do I see any hands up? I'm used to being on the tech support side of things, so give me a second. How is Keweenaw Indivisible related or connected to the state and national Indivisible chapters? There is kind of a dissolution or a relay of powers. Keweenaw National and Keweenaw or Indivisible National and Indivisible State will give us resources, mostly just like trainings or guides as to how we can help organize people. There's not a ton of support other than just folks being able to get together. Again, Indivisible National has just like the kind of want to have demonstrations in every quarter. They'll give us kind of loose dates as things form up. Technically, we're supposed to have one on 6/14 to protest, among other things, President Trump's military march. But how we go about demonstrating is up to us. We're choosing, instead of being loud, being disruptive, to be part of our community. Bridgefest is a event about bringing people together, and I think that's the best thing that we can do in a time like this. Um, as I think Craig just dropped in the chat. Yes, we do have a donate button. We have an ActBlue account. We're ready to take money, and digital money for us is easier to worry about than cash money. Our donations, how will donations be used by medical debt? Can you say more about how that program works? I know very little about our medical debt buyback program. And I'll answer your question here, Craig. Our donations are only going to go towards programs sponsored in our area. So it would be things like buying supplies or um, or buying insurance. One of the things that you need to table for Bridgefest is proof of insurance. And we went out to get quoted, and from what we heard, it was probably going to be about 100, $200 for the year, maybe $300 for the year. When our insurance agent got back to us, it was going to be $700 just to be part of Bridgefest. Um, we're working on finding different routes. I believe we have insurance for Bridgefest this time around, but that's because we are listing our table as a crafting table. We're going to be doing face painting and balloon tying, along with spreading the word about how our democracy is being attacked. But those kinds of things, buying insurance or buying balloons, and some community goodwill are our current donation ideas. Part of our Act Blue structure is we cannot back local elections, if I'm not mistaken. So again, our money is going to be used just for the mobilizations and things to help benefit our area. With the medical debt buyback program, I believe we are partnering with a foundation of the same name, and we're trying to fundraise $15,000. If we can fundraise that $15,000, then the foundation that we're working with cuts out the middleman for the loan sharks that are coming after the medical debt that is sellable in the area.
Hey, Alex.
Yes.
Alex, do you want me to speak really quickly?
Yes,
Just
please, please.
okay.
Thank you.
So Valori is one of our members, and she is kind of leading the charge from the way that we work at Keweenaw Indivisible, which Alex has talked a lot about, is a lot of activism and then also like community building and empowering members to do the activism that feels right to them. So we had Valori come to us and say, I've really wanted to buy up medical debt for a long time, and I feel like Keweenaw Indivisible is the organization that I can do that under. And we said, 100% it is, let's go. So I've been involved with those meetings and that team. So we're gonna do sort of a dual kind of take a dual stance where we're educating the community about Medicaid and Medicare and ACA, and rural hospitals and how much those services allow us to have resources and services in the area. And when Medicaid and Medicare see cuts, that actually hospitals in our community suffer, and services get diminished. So just some education about that, while we also raise the $15,000 to buy up medical debt. Now, that is not going to be through our donation link. So we've partnered with a company called Undo Medical Debt, and they buy up medical debt that has already gone to collections. So hospitals only, and I don't know for sure, hospitals typically only have about a year where they can pursue collecting bills, and then they have to give it to collections. And once it's gone to collections, it can be bought very, very cheaply. So Undo Medical Debt for like $1 can buy, I want to say $145 or $150 of medical debt. And so we'll have an Undo Medical Debt website. People will donate to that company. And once we hit that $15,000, we can do all of the medical debt that's gone to collections for the first congressional district. So it will stay in the UP, and then we'll go outward and buy more debt as we can in the state of Michigan, but definitely focusing first on the UP. So I hope that gives some background. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I just have been working a little bit more closely with that team, so I wanted to share.
And then one of the questions that I got about it at Pride yesterday was like, okay, so you could buy the medical debt, then what happens to it? It's like, no, we just forgive it at the end. Like that's the point, is to make it disappear.
And the person will get a Undo Medical Debt will send all of the recipients of this a letter that says your debt that was in collections has been forgiven by Keweenaw Indivisible. And it's not, it's gone. It's been totally forgiven. So the people that have received that benefit will get that communicated to them. Instead of getting a bill in the mail, they'll be given a forgiveness letter. So it's a really, really cool company. And it's an exciting thing to get to be a part of.
We've got a question here. The Rural Health Organization there is a rural health organization at NMU, which also works with Michigan Tech to work with local medical debt or local medical units. Are you working with them? I don't think we are, But that sounds like a great contact. Jan, you can either send either of us a contact about that. That would be excellent. If am I allowed to share my screen? Let me make sure that I can
Yes,
pull
you
up
should be
one.
able to.
Thank you very much. Give me 1 second to pull up our little QR code link. This doesn't have our email. Okay. So what I'm putting in front of you guys is our QR code and membership thing, or membership sign up survey, but that's not really what I was looking for. I do want to just toss our email into the chat. Or Amanda, do you mind tossing that, our Keweenaw Indivisible email into the chat? If there's a contact for folks, it looks like the informational is available at Northern Michigan University. Yeah. We'll find a way to find that contact. As I said, making these contacts is the most important thing, and it's definitely an obstacle to overcome in the modern state of society and in technology. But yeah, did I see anyone's hands up? Do we have any more questions? Sorry if I'm just kind of rambling here. Greg's got one. Go for it, Greg.
Oh, Craig, you're muted. Craig, you're muted. Can you start again?